A new bridge is being built at Carver, Minnesota, along the old Minneapolis and St. Louis railway line. It will be a pedestrian bridge, which will open the beautiful Minnesota River Valley to the public. This is an old map of the Minneapolis and St. Louis railway line, which shows St. Paul and Minneapolis at the top center. Carver was one of the first stops to the south, just before the railroad crossed the Minnesota River. Here is a map of the town of Carver, which shows the Minneapolis and St. Louis Railway passing through the eastern edge of town. The railroad had a few structures here, including a water tank and a coal storage building. This is what the water tank and coal storage building looked like. The most notable building was the depot, which is shown in this old postcard, with the water tank on the right. A restored caboose has also been placed near the water tank. Along the southern edge of town was the Minnesota River, and that is where the railroad built its bridge. This is a Google map from 2024, and the dotted yellow line shows where the Minneapolis and St. Louis Railway Bridge used to be. To get to the south side of the river, there is a dirt walking path from Highway 41, but it is a fairly long hike. I walked this trail, which is called the Minnesota Valley State Trail, in October 2022. After reaching the south side of the Minnesota River opposite Carver, I followed the old railroad line to Merriam Junction. In 2022, the railroad line was in tough shape. It was overgrown with trees, covered in wild grapevines, and eroded from multiple floods. However, there were still a lot of remnants from the old railroad line. I produced a video titled The Minneapolis and St. Louis Railroad Remnants, Carver to Merriam Junction, Minnesota. I highly recommend watching this video. The first railroad bridge across the Minnesota River at Carver was built in 1871, and it was constructed of wood. This bridge had a large circular stone center pier with 2 stone side piers. It was a swing bridge, which allowed steamboats to pass through. The center portion of the bridge that rotated was 270 feet long. This is another view of the first Carver Railroad Bridge, taken from the bluffs on the north side of town. This is a schematic of the first bridge, looking from the east to the west, or back toward Carver from the east. Again, the center swing portion was 270 feet long. Here is a postcard of the second railroad bridge across the Minnesota River at Carver. The biggest change was that iron replaced the original wooden bridge structure. The center stone pier stayed the same, as did the 2 outer stone piers. This is a postcard of the second bridge, taken from the bluffs of Carver, looking southeast. This second postcard is taken from about the same spot as the first, also looking southeast. Finally, here's a schematic of the second bridge, showing what the iron structure looked like. The iron bridge was replaced by another bridge in 1917. This time, in addition to replacing the top structure, the original stone piers were replaced with 7 concrete piers. This is a side view of the 1917 bridge, which shows the 7 concrete piers and the new top structure. Going back to the photograph, which was taken in 1957, you can see how this new structure tended to catch wood and other tree debris. Now let's look at a series of aerial photos of the bridge, starting with 1937. Moving on, here is 1945, 1964, 2003, 2006, 2012, and 2024. Construction started on the new pedestrian bridge in late 2024. These views are taken from the Carver Levee, looking southeast. That concludes the video. Make sure to check out my other YouTube videos and my primary website at mnbricks.com.